Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's see, is this thing on? Probably not, huh?
Good morning, good
Oh, there it
morning,
goes.
good morning.
All right. Just pop it in here real quick. I'm going to play the intro. Just doing a little things a little bit differently. I was going to come on early, but I didn't know if anybody was going to be in here. Because it was only like, no one was in here. So I thought maybe I shouldn't come on early because it says 11 and people are sticklers for these times and things of this nature. So I just did that little wait music, and we're still 4 minutes ahead. So maybe I'll kill 4 minutes babbling. Maybe I'll just babble for 4 minutes, and then I'm going to play the intro because I did make an intro for today's show, and doggone it, I'm going to play it. And
I did make an intro for today's show.
Anyway, but happy Halloween, everybody. For those of you that celebrate. It's like a damn religious holiday nowadays. Happy Halloween. If you guys are dressing up or decorating, that's great. I didn't really decorate. My costume is of a losing baseball team. Now, Game 6 tonight, World Series, Dodgers versus Toronto Blue Jays, up in Toronto. So hopefully Game 6, Dodgers got to win Game 6. It's all about winning Game 6. They're going to throw everything they can at this game to win this game. So hopefully the Dodgers will pull it off and win tonight's game. I'm rooting. I'm still standing behind them. I'm still rooting for my team. And I think they can do it. You have to have a can-do attitude. Mr. Spock says I dressed up as a Yoda Vulcan. There you go. Sandy folks, are you mad because the Dodgers lost? I'm not mad. I'm sad. I'm more sad. I'm not mad. But those things don't upset me, that much. I'm sad and then I move on. So I'm not like one of those people that are going to like kick their TV in and punch holes in the wall or something, some stupid shit like that. I'm over it in 5 minutes. So Michelle says I can lead my Cox cable today so I can pay for food. Oh, canceled. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. It was a little split there. Well, you got to do what you got to do, you know. I'm right there too, thinking what should I keep and what should I not keep. Again, I'm just babbling for 2 more minutes and then we're going to start the intro. Now for my background, I guess it's not working because it's like a video. Let's see. It's a video of the sphere, but apparently the video doesn't. I thought it would just be playing in the background. Apparently that doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that, John. It doesn't work like that. So I might switch backgrounds while we're waiting for the intro. Maybe I could do it. Can I do this on the fly? Let's see. Can I do this on the fly? I didn't know. Anyhow, I don't really have any Halloween-y, other than the colors are orange and black normally, so that's kind of Halloween colors. Let's see. Maybe I'll just put the old Trucker John. Did I pass it? God, trying to find a file. Takes forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever trying to find the right file. Should we try this one? I don't think that one works. Maybe this one. We'll just go with this. All right. It is 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm going to start the intro now. All right, guys. See you in 17 minutes.
Same story from a month now. Democrats versus Republicans, and things are only getting more tense.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene acknowledging she lashed out on a Republican call.
What? You're telling me Representative Cruella DeVille lost her composure? What? Let me guess. She's saying the Democrats want to give health care to Joe Biden's auto pen.
In a break with her party, she confronted Speaker Johnson, saying, "I have no respect for the House not being in session, and I demanded to know from Speaker Johnson what the Republican plan for health care is."
Oh, I was not expecting that. I'd also love to hear the Republican plan for health care. Okay, good for you, Marjorie. I mean, you know what they say, even a stopped clock is right twice a day. Or as Marjorie Taylor Greene says, clocks cause autism. Yeah, I guess we can all enjoy that because she is literally wrong about everything else.
Let's take, for example, this $40 billion bailout for Argentina. That's probably one of the grossest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that is a pretty gross thing. Wait, something weird is happening. Am I agreeing with Marjorie Taylor Greene? That was weird. That's never happened before. But it's a testament to the incompetence of this administration that even his ideological allies like Marjorie Taylor Greene are starting to find common ground with his critics. Although, obviously, let's not forget who we're dealing with here. We're not going to agree on much more than that.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is now backing a move to force a floor vote requiring the Justice Department to release all Epstein documents.
We should be passing the discharge petition that Thomas Massey put in to release the Epstein files. Those are the things that we should be doing.
La 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 la. No. Stop the clip. Stop the clip. I do not want that, okay? I do not want to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. What the is going on? Is it cold in here? It just got cold in here. Okay, this is really starting to creep me out. What the hell am I saying? She's a Trump supporter. She doesn't really want the Epstein files released. Wait, is that the Daily Show landline? No one's called that since the 90s when I was born. Don't Google it. Hello? Hello?
Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files.
Oh my God. Okay, breathe. Breathe, Desi. Breathe. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together. Okay, it's probably just the wrong number. So what? Marjorie Taylor Greene has said a few reasonable things. That doesn't mean that we have the same feelings about the Republican Party.
I'm beyond pissed off at my own party and the leadership in the House and the Senate that they are totally blowing it. Many times I hate my own party. I'm mad at Republicans. They never do what they promise they're going to do. I want to hold Republicans accountable. I want Republicans to do the job. I'm so angry at my own party, and I'm angry at all the men in leadership in the House and the Senate. And I'm like, you guys are weak and pathetic.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. MTG is roasting Republicans and her male coworkers? Where does she end and I begin? Did she also try to get a reservation by telling the hostess she's Dakota Fanning? No. Don't let her get in your head. Don't let her get in your head. Don't let her get in your head.
I blame Republicans. They are literally slaves to all the big industries in Washington, the military-industrial complex.
Oh my God.
Big
Stop it.
pharma, health
Stop
insurance
it.
industries.
Stop it! Does anyone else see what's happening here?
President Trump, as you know, recently called at least two senior Republicans to ask what's going on with Marjorie.
Exactly! What is going on with Marjorie? I agree with Donald Trump. Oh my God. I agree with Donald Trump.
Hello, my friends. In Berlin, 1936, Albert Speer, the Nazi architect, built a ballroom for Adolf Hitler. A grand reception hall behind the Reichskanzlei, or the Chancellery, with marble and light above, and a bunker below. They called it the Festsaal mit Wintergarten, or the reception hall with the winter garden. It was a place for ceremony raised on concrete meant for survival. You see, the floor for dancing was the roof of the Vorbunker, or the bunker, and its slab was 1.5 meters thick. Because even power needs somewhere to hide when the sky falls. And that hall, as you probably know, it's gone now, it's erased by war, but its idea lingers that beauty can be built to disguise fear, that spectacle can be a kind of camouflage. And now, nearly a century later, the east wing of the White House, as you know, is being torn down. It's being razed to make room for another ballroom. But this time it's 90,000 square feet of golden grandeur, 12 times larger than Hitler's. A room so vast, it could practically swallow the old Chancellery Hall. And of course they say it's for state dinners, for pageantry, and for pride. But keep this in mind, the East Wing sits above the PEOC, the Presidential Emergency Operations Center. The bunker of the nuclear age, the place built for when everything else fails. And did you know that cameras are barred from the excavation, that staff are warned not to take pictures, that permits were filed after the walls had been taken down? Protocol, the quiet grammar of democracy, is totally skipped.
First of all, mind blown. Second of all, you can't script this shit. It's on purpose. In my very last video, I talked about the connection with the Nazis. And we know that Stephen Bannon, Roosevelt, and Trump himself study Nazi Germany and are mimicking their things they're doing. So this ballrooms and bunkers theory is fucking bonkers. Because that checks out. That checks out a lot.
Okay, guys, we have some bombshells involving the Biden Justice Department's investigations of Donald Trump. You heard Trump and his allies say that the Democrats weaponized the Justice Department to charge Trump with federal crimes. The theory was they wanted him in jail so he couldn't become president. But we know today that that's not only not true, in fact, the opposite happened. These new revelations are coming from a book by my colleague Carol Leonard. Carol reports that acting out of a mix of principle and caution, Attorney General Merrick Garland actually slow-walked the federal investigations into Donald Trump and granted Trump unusual deference because he was the prior and possible future president. Here's what you need to know. One, the DOJ waited more than a year before launching a grand jury investigation into that fake elector scheme to overturn the 2020 election, in which Donald Trump allegedly was integrally involved. Two, even after that grand jury was launched, the FBI waited another 10 weeks to execute the memo naming the Trump campaign as a formal subject of that investigation. And three, Merrick Garland imposed a 2-month freeze on both investigations during the 2022 election campaign, even though Donald Trump was not on the ballot. Critics said that was an overly conservative interpretation of the DOJ policy not to take action around an election. Carol's book also explores what was in retrospect a disastrous decision by Special Counsel Jack Smith to bring that classified documents case in Florida. Smith misunderstood the chances that he had of drawing as a judge Trump loyalist and appointee Eileen Cannon, who essentially torpedoed the case with many of her rulings. So when you hear that Democrats weaponize the justice system, just know that that is not factual. In fact, the Justice Department was extremely deferential to Trump and did not move as quickly as it could have moved.
As Donald Trump continues with his sweeping obsession of retaliation and retribution and mounting daily threats against anyone who dares to dissent, anyone who dared to try to hold him accountable, Americans have made it clear that they will not accept doing nothing about it. Millions of Americans turned out in a massive and peaceful way this month in thousands of cities and small towns for one of the largest single-day protests ever in American history. But there's still that feeling. I'm sure all of you ask it and talk about it in your daily lives. I hear it every day. What else can we do about it to defy what we're seeing, to defy what feels wrong, and defy the lawlessness of what we see playing out? Starting today, there's an answer. There's a new way to find some of those answers. And this is brand new, an exclusive announcement right here about the launch of an effort called Defiance.org. It is a coalition of national security veterans, whistleblowers, and pro-democracy leaders providing monthly updates and simplified directions on how you might choose to push back peacefully, lawfully, and defiantly against presidential abuses of power. Already, the first wave of former government officials have signed onto their new Declaration of Defiance, a nationwide mutual aid pact to defend any group targeted by Donald Trump's retribution. Joining us now to talk about it, the head of one of the organizations partnering to launch Defiance.org, the CEO of Represent Us, Maria McFarland Sanchez-Moreno, and the group's co-founder, Miles Taylor, is still here with us. So, why did you do this?
Look, after, as you know, Nicole, I got attacked by the president in April. I had a lot of wonderful people coming out of the woodwork to say, how can we help you? And I'm lucky. My family got taken care of. We've got the best legal team in America. We've got great supporters. But my concern was there was not the infrastructure to go protect other people and organizations. This administration is flooding the zone with actions. And there is no one organization that can fix it. And so I keep getting asked, what can I do? And I got frustrated that there wasn't just one place people could go that's constantly giving new recommendations. And so we launched Defiance.org. And that word means a lot to me, because literally that word really turned things in my and my wife's head when we were thinking about fighting back. A lot of people told us to lay low. Lawyers, friends, family said, do not punch back, because the risks of retaliation will go up. But if we don't fight back, the risks of retaliation against other people are much higher. So we've launched Defiance to be that place. We call it a club for courageous Americans, and we use it to highlight the great groups out there people can get involved in and specific actions they can take to push back against the president's unprecedented revenge campaign in this country.
They undermine democracies in our hemisphere.
I'm very sorry to interrupt, but there's a point of order from Cuba.
Sure. Madam President?
Yes, we have to give the floor to the point of order and the representative of Cuba.
Artículos 71 y 60.
61 and 68 of the rules. The permanent representative of the United States is not only lying, substantively deviating from the subject, but is also grossly and expressing against his president, against the dignity of the Assembly and the member states. He is doing so in an uncivilized, crude and gross way that is not acceptable in this democratic forum. Mr. Waltz, this is the United Nations General Assembly. It is not a signal chat, nor is it the House of Representatives.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test. Have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump.
Okay, wait. So AOC responded on social media asking, out of curiosity, did those doctors ask you to draw a clock by any chance? Was that the hard part for you too? Asking for 340 million people. Jasmine Crockett also weighed in. Take a look.
He doesn't even know what a low IQ is. He don't even know which scores are low. You have a president of the United States who consistently is obsessing over two women of color that are members of the House. You are the president. I don't know what black woman hurt him in his past, honey, but it is really taking him through it.
That was good. And, I do want to point out that this seems to be the test that he's bragging about. Which is
Where is the President of the United States now? He's overseas. It's important to be overseas. But hold on. Don't you think it's more important to address the domestic crisis of his own making right now?
One side's not even talking when 20 million Americans' health care is about to be ripped away. The other side, the Democrats, are there to talk and negotiate and try to figure out a solution.
And Donald Trump quite literally doesn't give a damn that people's insurance, health insurance, is going to be lost or tripled because he, in his big, beautiful bill, just did the biggest cuts to Medicaid in American history. Forgive me for the long-windedness. God bless the Democrats for standing up on all these things and being willing to fight for these things.
It's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
See here, testing, 1, 2, 3. Am I coming through? I did a little bit different today, so let's see here. Sounds like we're on. Alrighty, so here we are, 11:19 a.m. Pacific Time Zone in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It's currently 73 degrees. We have a high today of 83. Overnight low of 53. Thanks for the thumbs ups there. You guys can hear me okay? All right. That was the special Halloween edition intro. Who needs scary movies for Halloween when all you got to do is watch those clips? Those were pretty scary, if you ask me. A deranged president running things. Yeah, pretty scary stuff. Merrick Garland being a chicken shit. Marco Rubio going, oh my God. Even Marco Rubio's like, God help us all. MTG making sense? What is this world coming to? I got to admit, those close-ups of MTG were kind of pretty scary. That was probably the scariest part. All right, guys. So here we are. Thanks for being here. We got 31 watching, only 30 thumbs up. We are at a slight deficit, but still, that's a little bit too Republican-ish to me. So let's get to a balanced budget at least. Thank you so much. I do see going to the chat. It looked like maybe Sandy was first. I guess we got search for you in there. Sandy starting things off with a $2 super chat or super sticker. Thank you, Sandy. Yippee for the super sticker. I appreciate you. There's a thumbs up and there's a heart for you. Now, this was put up before the goal, so we're still at 0 for 5 on the goals. For those of you keeping score at home. Let's see, where do I want this? My shirt, well, this is a dark blue shirt, but boy, it really looks dark on the on screen there. This is my Dodger shirt, so yeah, I'm getting ready for tonight's game. Paul Burrows is here. Paul says, Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate Halloween because they don't like random people knocking on their doors. That's hilarious. James Jaramillo was one of the early people. Michael Bagandros was in here earlier. I don't know if he's still here. Michael says, happy Halloween, everyone. I'll be on the road on a plane to Houston for my dad's 95th birthday. So happy birthday to your dad, Michael. That's a biggie, 95. So congratulations on your dad making it to 95. That's pretty awesome. One Vision's here. It says, we the people, don't forget who we are. Feet on the Dashboard was in here earlier. It said, rumor has it Trucker John might start early. Wow, rumors going around. Mad Max, Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini there, absolutely. Fowler's Wrath, 666. Ooh, that's a scary sounding name for Halloween. So it says, yeah, I have it on good authority that Trucker John will be starting any minute now. There were rumors swirling about the show starting early. Barney Balcom's here. Danny Pomeroy. Sorry about that. Danny Pomeroy is here. Number 9, thumb. Hit thumbs up. Patriots 100%. Josh C's, good to see Josh C's in the driver's lounge. Says, holy shit, we have pre-show music. That's old music. That music has been around. I made that years ago. That's what I used to use all the time, and before I was doing, what I do now. Sandy Foltz is there. Yeah, I already said Sandy, but thank you for the $2 super chat. Mr. Spock is here. Hey, Mr. Spock, live long and prosper. Mr. Spock says, howdy, everybody. What's this spooktacular thing all about? It better not be no racist shit. Well, I mean, my mind didn't even go there. Spooktacular, spooky, it's about like Halloween is spooky. Spooky is just like scary. Didn't even see. My mind doesn't go to those places. So anyhow, but I want to fill up this big empty spot over here. I just got one little meme. It was from JoJo from Jers. Good old JoJo, right? I think the seat down there at the bottom says JoJo from Jers. So I guess this is her. We'll give her attribution. We'll give JoJo the attribution. Says if you let us take away your health care, we'll let you eat. The Republican Party 2025. That seems to be their message. I guess we have a real Sophie's choice here. Do you want health care or do you want to eat? So thank you very much, Republican Party. Screw you, by the way. Screw you, Republican Party. Did you guys see Liberal Dan was on the Nick Nick Drake or something show last night? Did you guys watch that? I watched it. I didn't watch during when it was live. I watched the replay of it. I wish I would have watched it live and I could have gone into the chat and, done my thing. But Liberal Dan, kudos to Liberal Dan, who was in there outnumbered by 3 fucking right-wingers. They were fucking pretty deplorable, in my opinion. They try to act like they're all calm and cool and respectful. And the one guy, his name was Sawyer, and to me, he was like a low-rent version of, like he was a wannabe Matthew McConaughey or something. And he's a really slime. This guy was a real slime turd. And, he called, during the course of it, he called Dan a fatty. He called Dan a dumbass, called him stupid. And then he would say stuff like, "Hey man, you're a good sport. Thanks for coming on, man. We really appreciate you, man. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you keeping it respectful, man." Well, in the meantime, he's calling Dan fat. He's calling him stupid. So, to Sawyer, that Sawyer motherfucker, go fuck yourself. You're an asshole. And the other two dudes, they were just your typical right wingers who have a really, I think, warped view of things. And the black dude down in the corner, Sam, I think his name was, would cite stuff, and he's always like, "Are you?" He would get on Dan for not citing. Like, Dan is actually citing court cases, court names that you can look up. You can look up those names. That's how you do it. And then Sam is like, he's like, don't just get all these court cases in there. And then he's like, I like to cite my sources, but then he would never cite his sources. They were just so stupid. They were stupid, and I applaud liberal Dan for going in there, man. That was a tough crowd, but I think liberal Dan fucking held his own, man. He did a great job. Liberal Dan did a great job. 3 against 1. And even the host, the guy whose channel that was, he would try to be all friendly, but it was all backhanded. It was all, very condescending. But again, my hat's off to Liberal Dan for going on that show last night. I just heard noises outside. Kind of spooky noises. Mr. Spock, you should change your name to Mr. Spooky today for Halloween, actually. So that's what I'm thinking. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna Moore. Anna Moore is here. Bonnie Balcom's here. Well, you got One Vision. Danny Pomeroy. So John, tell Americans how the Trump administration just turned off illegal immigrants coming across the border of America. It has nothing to do with Homeland Security or ICE. I don't even know what you're talking about. So, Mad Max here. Sandy Foltz says, "Yeah, are you mad? Because I was in for a few minutes. I did pop in, so I already addressed that issue there." Anna Moore says, "Let's go Dodgers." Absolutely. Absolutely, go Dodgers all the way. Buddy Balcom, background is dark like my withered heart. Roxanne79 is here. Hello, Roxanne. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in to the old Driver's Lounge. Petrazi1920 says, I'll be passing out candy tonight, looking at all the costumes. H. I don't know what H means. But that sounds like a fun night. Sandy Foltz says, it looks like no food stamps for November. Looks like it might not be these food stamps for who knows how long. Even though they have plenty of money that to keep it going just for this occasion. But the Trump administration will not. You go to those reserves because they don't give a fuck if you starve to death. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and all the Republicans really do not give one little fuck if you go hungry. So please, folks, remember that at the ballot box. Please remember this at the ballot box. The Republicans aren't your friends. All they want you for is for your votes. And I don't know how they're winning people over right now. I don't know what they're like. Like people say they're planning on never leaving or some shit, but they're gonna leave. Bonnie Balcom says, I'm kidding. Children are great as long as I don't have to deal with one. Some people just aren't kid people, I guess. And that's fine. I guess we all have our things, right? We all have our own thing. Let's see. Looks like Michelle is here. Who else was here? Kevin, 007 Kevin Troll Slayer's here. Good to see 007 Kevin. Thanks for coming on in on this Halloween day. Halloween morning. Still morning for me. So now I guess Hal wasn't on today. He's back. I guess he's back home, back with his dad. His dad is very ill, and they're dealing with that. So, positive thoughts going out to Hal and his family as they go through this really tough time. But yeah, so I don't think Hal was on, and I'm not even sure if he'll be on tomorrow or not. But just thought I'd bring that up. Damon Dog's here. Hey, Damon Dog, the big dog. Good to see Damon Dog. Danny Pomeroy says kids are easy to please with water. Parents take a lot more alcohol to please in this administration of one dictator. Laughing out loud, fighting wet brain, fascist cowards release the SNAP rainy day funds. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. They've got the rainy day funds that could keep the program going, I think, for a few months. But they just, like I said, they don't give a fuck. John Glad's here. Always glad to see John Glad in the old driver's lounge. Doug is here. Hey, Doug, good to see you. David Weiss from Denver's here. Good to see David. Thanks for coming on in. Damon Dog says, hey, Roxanne, 79, thanks. I love the video. Fancy made more. It's incredible. Yeah, I did see that. Have you guys seen it? Fancy's got another video out featuring Damon Dog, the big dog. And it's about Damon Dog being a werewolf or turned into a werewolf. So very appropriate for this Halloween day. Yeah, so check out Fancy's latest video. Always creative and entertaining, to say the least. Yeah, Bunny Malcolm says, yeah, what the fuck was wrong with Merrick Garland? I'm telling you, man. He's going to go down in history as being the guy responsible for letting Donald Trump have a second term. I'm just skipping down all of the turn down the music comments. Too many Christmas. What are you guys listening on headphones or something with the volume all the way up? James Jaramillo, it's kind of Halloweenish. Yes, that was very derivative of the Halloween movie soundtrack. Let's see. I'm just skipping down a little bit here. Elizabeth Fernandez came in and said hello, or said happy Halloween, Trucker John. So happy Halloween back at you. What are you going to be this year for Halloween tonight? What are you guys going to go out? Anybody doing anything? Anyone dressing up? I know we had somebody said they were going to hand out candy tonight. It was Petrozzi, right? Yeah, Petrozzi. Going to hand out candy tonight. Oh my God. The criticisms about the sound is just ridiculous. I'm doing this on an iPhone using an app, for crying out loud. Damon Doug says, give the chickens candy corn. True fact, the original name of candy corn was called chicken feed. Roxanne, I like the effort you put into your... Give me E for effort. Damon Dog, you would think Halloween would be great training for Mormons, knocking on random doors, asking stupid questions. Michelle asking also, is anyone dressing up today for Halloween? Jolie says, my daughter has a black cat named Spooky. So there you go. Spooky. There's a song called Spooky, right? Sandy Foltz says, as Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills, that's what I'm going to be for Halloween. Oh, there you go. That's a good one. Nick Rich 56 is here. Says, I like number 33, late but laughing already. And we are we're right now operating like good Democrats. 41 watching, 41 thumbs up. So we are at a balanced budget, just like the good Democrats that I know we can be. Nick Rich 11:26. So I think I'm 11 minutes behind. Just 11 little minutes. That's not too bad. Josh C says, I think it would be funny if literally all the children dressed up as ICE agents for Halloween. Paul Burrows says, I'm on the Lostine River, Oregon, with no trick-or-treaters or candy. Yeah, you probably don't see too many out there. Bonnie Balcom, I played a Walking Dead game for years and have dealt with asshole MAGAs. MAGA. 007 Kevin says, I'm going to catch me some trolls and go batshit. Elizabeth Martinez is here. Elizabeth says, buenos dias. John, hello to all. Have you seen video Ronald Reagan roast Trump from Club Dead? That is some funny shit. Has me rolling. All that is so funny. I haven't seen that, but that sounds... I'll be looking for it. That sounds really interesting to watch. David Weiss from Denver says, a great scary quote from one of my favorite writers. True horror is waking up and realizing the people you knew in high school are running the country. Kurt Vonnegut. That is so maybe ironic or something, I guess. Aaron, hey everyone, I'm in the airport in St. Louis. That's right, Aaron's on her way to Vegas. Gonna have a good time. Gonna go see the horror Unleashed. That should be very, very good. And I think there was something else she was going to look at. And then I also suggested, if there's time, to go see the Circus back, what they have back in the Adventure Dome. I've heard it's really good. Michelle reminding everyone, vote Democrats. Jolie says, I've never lived anywhere that gets trick-or-treaters. I've always wanted to be able to pass out candy, but never have. Yeah, it's something that's seems to be less and less and kind of hit and miss. Even when I was living in Palmdale and we lived in a really, like a nice neighborhood, with lots of families, lots of kids. It was your I guess typical kind of neighborhood, with residential area, and it was weird because some years it would be, like I said, we might get 100 kids that night or more. I don't know. I stopped counting, or 50 or 75 or 100. and then some years 1 or 2. It was weird. It was so unpredictable. Sandy Foltz says, drop off an item of canned good or a box of food for the food bank. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. Troll Slayer, Kevin 007 Kevin Troll Slayer says it's Halloween, John. All Bill? Maybe did you mean bail? Like you're bailing? I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll find out if there's no more posts from him. I guess he bailed. If he's still around, then 007 Kevin can tell me what he meant by I'll bill. You gonna bill me? Michelle says, Jolie, eat the candy or share with apartment office for the kids. Tim Farrell, the Farrell one's here. Hey, Tim Farrell, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in to the old driver's lounge. Paul Burrow says, I don't give a fuck. Jump in the pickup truck and I'm off to the rodeo. There you go. That sounds like a fun time. A fun time. Yeah. Anna Moore says Republican voters should send a message to their reps by voting Democrat during the midterm elections. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. Tim Farrell, again with 56. Don't know what that means. Did you do that yesterday? Tim Farrell? Someday we'll know what he's talking about. Surrender Monkey is here. Hi, Surrender Monkey. I haven't seen Surrender Monkey in a bit. Says, what happened to Hal? Hal's having some family problems. Okay, his dad's very, very sick, and he's rushed home to be with his dad. Okay, so that's the deal. Okay. I missed that because some asshole was rubbing stuff loudly. I'm sanding down some wood for a project. Calm down. Yeah, so just if you haven't heard, I don't know. Hal is back home and we've got family, family issues, to be with family during a time. His dad is very, very sick. That's all. That's really all I know. Okay, but that's enough. That's enough to know. That's all I need to know. Let's see. Luck Dragon's here. Hey, Luck Dragon, good to see you. Luck Dragon says, I don't really care if the World Series goes 6-7. Gotcha. I will always root for California no matter where I was born. Go Oak L. And you guys with the typing. Josh C says I'm going to dress up as a younger version of myself. James Jaramillo, as he just explained to Surrender Monkey that Hal's with his dad, who isn't doing too well right now. Paul Burrows, I would go in my birthday suit. Oh my! The Soulcraft says eat peanuts with candy corn, and it tastes just like a payday bar. So maybe. I never tried that. Sandy Foltz has candy corn. I know a lot of people say they hate those. I actually like them. I actually like candy corn. Catherine Real Health Talk is here. Catherine says, hi, everyone. Hi, TJ. Game 6 tonight. Absolutely. Game 6 tonight. This is a must win for the Dodgers. So hopefully they'll do it. I'm rooting for them. I'll be rooting for them. Grandma 52 is here. Hey, Grandma, Grandmam 52. And I think that's the spooky song I was trying to think of. These might be the lyrics, but love is kind of crazy with the spooky little girl like you. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the tune. I didn't nail that down, but yeah. Luck Dragon says, don't you think 67 Don't you think 67 should have ended up in the new number dictionary, not the dictionary? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Sandy Foltz has a black cat named Spooky as well as Jolie's daughter. Yeah, James Jaramillo, there's the Spooky song. Again, I'm not even going to attempt it because I know I'm not doing the tune right. So Paul Burrows, Hang on Sloopy. Different song. I kind of remember that one. Hang on, Sloopy. Sloopy, hang on. Luck Dragon 2112 says, we all know what the loneliest number is, but what is the most popular number? And then that's where the question mark should be. Anyhow, hashtag, I'll give you a hint, it's purple. Man, you're doing some good drugs today, Luck Dragon. You must be doing some good drugs today. Luck Dragon says, after tonight, Trucker John will definitely blame Canada. Catherine Real Talk says, I'm not expecting any trick-or-treaters tonight. Bethany S. Arball is here. Hey, Bethany, good to see you. Hello to you. Jill Branton, here's Johnny. Honey, I'm home. Here's Johnny. Nick Rich, I understand. Let's see. Sandy Fold says not too many kids go out trick-or-treating anymore since COVID happened. You haven't seen it bounce back since then, huh? Jill Bratton, we have a Red Rum Street near me. Oh, wow. That street, everyone that lives on that street should just go all out on decorating, you know? One Vision says, holy be crap, I'm back, and truckers here. Maybe it's holy crap, I'm back, and truckers here. Yeah, you're here, I'm here, we're all here. We're just all happy, I guess. James Jaramillo says, working 6 to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thought about the Invisible Man, but I did that yesterday. Luck Dragon says, hop in my truck, I don't give a fuck, and I'm off to the rodeo. I probably will never have to shut it off before I leave with a hoe. Man, oh man, Luck Dragon, you need to share. Whatever you're on, man, you need to, don't bogart, man. Don't bogart it, man. Swimmer Monkey says, oh my God, there's a joke there, Jolie. Have you tried diabetes? Kennedy and passing out go with losing your feet, although a diabetic coma technically isn't passing out. Okay, I have to stop reading everything. Some posts should not be read. One Vision says it's 420 somewhere in the universe. I don't need an excuse. That old chestnut. You guys are off the chain today. Jill Bratton, one ball man with a pecker in his hand, off to the rodeo. User PH9WT3UE7C, otherwise known as William, is here. Hello, William. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Nick Rich knows that's William also. Barney Balcom, has anyone ever seen a ghost? That's a good question. I've thought maybe I did, but stuff goes, stuff disappears, and I do have a story. Christina told me not to tell it because to save it for her show, but I do have a ghost story. Maybe I'll say it since today's Halloween. If I ever go back on Christina's show, I can always say it again. You guys don't listen to half the stuff I say anyhow, so I could probably say it and then say it again, and it'll be like the first time you heard it. But I do have a kind of a ghost story, or not kind of a ghost story. I think it is a ghost story of something that happened right here in Las Vegas, just like last year, I think. Catherine Real Hell Talk says airspace over Puerto Rico shut down. Someone said Agent Orange is getting troops ready to invade Venezuela. Wag the dog, ladies and gentlemen. Wag the dog. Here we are in the old wag the dog thing. Anything to distract us from the Epstein files. So he's willing to send our troops into harm's way. He's willing to kill people by the thousands. Doesn't give a fuck. That's total wag the dog bullshit. One Vision says, "What are the words to that song named Louie Louie?" I can't remember. That's a hard one to remember. All those Louie Louies. You got to make sure you say the right amount. You can't do too few. You can't do too many. You got to do the exact right amount of Louie Louies. '67. 67. Look, Dragon says, "I used 67 as a word. I knew I could do it, but it should be in the dictionary." I don't even know why you're talking about that. Let's see. Look, Dragon says, "Tonight we're gonna party like it's 1999, bro." All right. Party on, bro. Party on. Let's see. James Sanamio says, at Catherine Real Hot Talk, I heard that the Wagner group is also there with more on the way. Something's up. The Russians are there too? The fucking Russians? Jill Brandt Munster's theme. Yeah. How's that go? Yeah. Pubero says there's a fly doing backstrokes in my coffee. That's gross and disgusting. Buddy Malcolm waiting for 3i Atlas to beam the aliens down. That's got to be a typo, right? Right, guys? That's a typo? Lucky Dragon says, tomorrow my EBT goes away because of a spooky little girl like you. Yeah. Catherine Real Talk says, James, the Wagner group was dissolved and absorbed by Russia apparently. Wagner group lost its leader. Who the fuck knows? It's Russia. Yes, something is up. Yeah, they didn't just lose their leader. Fucking Vladimir Putin had him taken out. He blew up his plane or something, didn't he? Let's see. Bethany Arbrough says, I passed out candy at my rental house. There was a lot of kids, at least 500. Gee, many Christmas. That is a lot. They walk up and down the main street of my town. It is a big thing. It was cold and rainy yesterday, but kids didn't care. Were they trick-or-treating yesterday? Anyhow, Nook Dragon, I am a wordtionary? I don't know, dude. I'm not sure what you are. I think you're high as fuck, though, is what I think you are. One Vision says it's an Alamande left and Alamande right. I have no. What is going on with you guys? I don't understand anything you guys are saying today. Come on, you fucking dummy. Get your right step right. Get off stage, you goddamn. Okay, I'm not reading your shit anymore because that's just doesn't make any sense. When you sober up, then I'll read your fucking chats, man. Let's see here. Damon Dog says that he's been watching 3i Atlas. I had never even heard of this shit. I've never even heard of it. Love Dragon says everybody who can read this comment needs to listen to Halloween by the Misfits at least one time today. Please, we always. So you were doing really good with that comment until the very end there. Please, we always. What the fuck? George Berger's here. Hey, George, good to see you. Thanks for popping on in. It says, what gives us the right to invade a sovereign nation? We don't. Unless we're declaring war on them for some reason. And has Congress given Trump the green light on this? What the fuck? What the fuck? Of course, the Republican leadership will bend over backwards for Trump and let him do whatever he wants. But I thought this was the peace president who was so peaceful and stopping wars, and I guess maybe this is a deal where he can say that he stopped, like he could invade Venezuela and then stop and say, look, I stopped another war. I stopped another war there. That's 10 or whatever, I don't know. Joe Branton says at Luck Dragon, do you have a backup plan? Hearing Senate is going to kill the filibuster, but that would show they were lying Fs the whole time. I wish they would blow up the fucking filibuster. I really wish they would. They get rid of the goddamn thing. And people always say, well, when they have the power, you don't like that. When they're in power, when they have the majority. Well, I already don't like it. So fucking blow it up, and then when we get power back, then we won't have to deal with the fucking thing. Luck Dragon says, Jesus Christ, the t-shirt I'm wearing in my picture says subhumans. William says, no EBT for me. Next. Bonnie Balcom, guys, how did the movie Red Dawn start? The kids were in a classroom, and all of a sudden they started seeing these paratroopers come down in the field at the school, at the high school. And then the teacher went out and said, you can't be here. And he got shot. And then, like, some of the kids, they got away and they got in their truck. Oh, and Patrick Swayze came. Said, get in the truck if you want to live. So they got in the truck. They headed for the hills. Something like that. I don't know. Look, Dragon, I love how he misses my jokes. Trucker John doesn't have short-term memory anymore. I don't know, but those were jokes. I think you need to work on your material, dude. Catherine Real Talk says, Illinois governor asked lipo-lipped bitch to pause ICE whole crap for kids and families this weekend. She said no, and of course got pretty rude back. Yeah, because she's a cunt. Christy Gnome's a cunt. I'm not afraid to say it. One Vision says, Laughing Out Loud song is called Rodeo. It's a silly song. Me and Luck Dragon are quoting. It's a song that apparently no one's ever heard of, but you two. No, I don't know. Put those little musical note things, or if you're going to do a song, then so I know it's a song. Don't you guys know the rules of chatting? You're supposed to put those little musical things up. Mad Mac, you haven't heard of is it I or L Atlas? You're going to hear of it in November when it's closest to Earth, TJ. All right. All righty then. Is this a comet coming in? A meteor that's going to hit the Earth? Is that what this is about? George Berger says, I have a neighbor that is trying to get his disability Due to his back problem, he can no longer walk. He has no income, so he needs SNAP. Yeah, they don't care, George. Donald Trump and the Republican Party, they don't give one tiny little fuck about your neighbor and his back problem and needing food. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck, man. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Oh, don't give a fuck. No, they don't. Don't give a fuck. Oh, no, they don't give a fuck. Oh, no, they don't give a fuck. They don't care if you go hungry. They don't care if you starve to death. No, they don't give a fuck. All right, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Look, Dragon says, physically, I'm not that put the weed. Wait, I'm not that put the weed that I'm smoking actually just puts me in a mood where I prefer to laugh. And apparently, don't know how to type. George Berger says both parties get an equal amount of time to argue their side of an issue. Do away with the filibuster. I agree. Do away with the filibuster. And if we're going to have it, make them do it the old-fashioned way, where they actually had to stand up there and talk and shit. Don't not the way it is now. It's just like, yeah, we're filibustering. Boom, boom. You know, it's kind of like in baseball now, where you don't have to actually throw the 4 pitches. You just hold up 4 fingers, and that means you're going to intentionally walk the guy. That's the way they do the filibuster now. They're just like, filibuster, and it just kills everything. If they're going to do it, make them stand up there and talk for 25 hours or some shit. Nick Rich, 12 noon. I'm only 3 minutes behind, Nick. Only 3 minutes. 3 momentos. 3 momentos. Momentos. Tres momentos. MJ Daniel says, oh, now there's the quotations here. Never mind, we lied. We won't let you eat either. Also, the Republicans. Yeah, right. That's a good one, MJ. To kind of play off of the meme I have posted there by JoJo from Jers, by the way. I guess you give JoJo the attribution, lest anyone think I'm trying to steal it. Bethany Arbor says, I wish Trick or Treat was today or tomorrow because it was cold and rainy yesterday. Trick or Treat is today, right? This is Halloween tonight. Oh, but they decided to do it yesterday. Suck for adults. Why would they do it yesterday? On a Thursday? Why would it seems like Friday would be the perfect day to do it, but I don't know. I don't know what your town. MJ Daniel says Puppy Killer is a psychopath like most of this administration. I believe that she is a puppy killer, and I believe they are all a bunch of psychopaths. Every single goddamn last one of them. Bunch of fucking psychopaths, sociopaths, you name it. Look, Dragon says what this planet needs is the aliens to come back and say we were only playing a game, guys. What you need to do is get on our level and have empathy. I hate to break this to you, though. I don't think there's any aliens, and they're not going to come. There's no aliens to come save us or whatever. DPD 5844. Hey, DPD, good to see you. DPD says, has anyone seen on the Homeland Security website, they are using the word remigrate. Only neo-Nazi and white nationalists use that term for wanting a white country, no beige allowed. I did not see that. And if that's true, what you say, that that's what a white nationalist term, then that's sickening and disgusting, and it has no business being on any governmental website. And it needs to be removed. At the very least, it needs to be removed. And I think if we lived in a world that made sense, whoever is responsible for posting that would lose their job. You know, that's disgusting. Roxanne79 says, I heard Rhode Island filed a lawsuit to USDA to release SNAP ASAP, and the judge ruled in favor and wanted it implemented by Monday. You know they'll appeal, but at least the judge agrees. MJ Daniel says, only when it happens to them personally, and I am hearing a lot of, I voted Republican, they can't do that to me. Like I knew would happen. Karma is a bitch, suckers. Bethany said filibuster needs to go. Like I said, especially the way it is now. All they do is they just wiggle they just go filibuster, and then that's if they're gonna do it, make them do it the old, Jimmy Stewart way. Mr. Stewart goes to whatever his name was, you know that one. Make them stand up there and for 29 hours. None of this snapping their fingers and then just automatically killing whatever it was, Mr. Spock said, I crashed my motorcycle. I really stoned on the track once, fixed the bike, and got second place in a race the next day. David Dog says, Christy Nome is the Wicked Witch of the West Wing. That's a good one. Look, Dragon, my jokes are always thinkers. The people who automatically get them are the people I love. For the rest of you, Google it. I guess you don't love me because I think most of the shit you write is nonsense. And you have to realize it's different between verbalizing, actually, like hearing something, just to hear it than it is to read it. So, Bethany says, Trucker John, my town is weird. I guess so. I mean, I don't know why you would have trick-or-treating on the day before Halloween. Especially on a Thursday. Like sometimes I think maybe I've heard towns do it if it fell on I don't know. I don't even know if I've heard that. So. But maybe they would change it just to have it fall on a Friday or a Saturday or something. But anyhow, DPD 5844 says, Heb, a grocery store chain in Texas, is donating $6 million and $1 million to local food pantries and banks. So there are companies that do care about humanity and not just their bottom line. That's nice of them. That's very nice of them to do that, and that will help. It's going to help people in those regions, that local area. But unfortunately, it doesn't help the whole country. Look, Dragon says, unfortunately, ELO was one of my father's favorite bands, but he also loved Creedence Clearwater and Led Zeppelin, so I can't fault him? I don't know. Can you? That's another thing with you and your question marks. They're so inappropriate. And I also like ELO, and one of my favorite bands was Creedence Clearwater and Led Zeppelin. So what's wrong with ELO? ELO is a great band. It's got some great songs. Better than that stupid song you were talking about earlier. Roxanne 79, I love the Allman Brothers Band and Derek Trucks, never heard of them. I need to start listening to them again. I need some slide guitar. William says aliens lock the door when they ride by this planet. See, now that's a joke, Luck Dragon. That's a joke. That makes sense. Short, concise, to the point. None of this weird rambling ass shit with weird question marks. Okay, here's Luck Dragon. My favorite song is That's the Way of the World, but my favorite band is Led Zeppelin, and the way I actually play guitar is because Tony, what's the guy? The guy from Sabbath. Tony Iommi is my god. Okay, good for you. Jill Bratton, where was London? What's Arrigo? Arrigo. I don't know what Arrigo means, but Where Was London was a good movie. Oh no, American Werewolf in London was a good movie. Where Was of London was a good song. That I always thought should have been in the movie because I think they came out about the same time, and I think maybe they just didn't know about that song yet or something. Because it's not in the movie. Musquat, El Dorado. Boy, we're just throwing out stuff now. Buddy Malcolm says aliens are watching us. They're like that weird neighbor who lives across the street, and they have a telescope on the roof. Roxanne79, thank you. Thank You is my favorite Zeppelin song, and I love when Tori covers it. Tori Amos? I guess that's the only Tori there is in the world, probably. Roxanne, I love the Eagles too. Okay. Sunny Folds, TJ, have you been to your taco place lately? By my taco place, do you mean either Del Taco or Casa del Sabor? Haven't been to either lately. I haven't been to Del Taco since that last time that I did the live stream, I guess. Or it was a live stream. And Casa del Sabor has been even longer. But now you make me want to go get some tacos, Sandy. I might just have to go get me some tacos right after this little old live stream. Yep, I was going to have to do that. Let's see. Luck Dragon says my favorite thing in life is to do is jump up and down on my bed with a guitar, acting like Black Sabbath. #Dayglow. One Vision says the difference between our DNA and a banana is 60% us and a monkey, 98% an alien who can travel between planets would eradicate us before they landed. Jill, that's a very positive, very positive outlook there. One version. Jill Bratton says, "Look, Lick Dragon." I think it's Love Dragon, but Lick Dragon kind of fits. Did you catch Led Zeppelin's Kennedy Center Honor? Heart did a killer cover of Stairway to Heaven. The Blonde is a killer guitarist too. That would be. I know I always mix them up too, huh? I believe the blonde is Nancy and the singer is Anne. I think, right? Roxanne says dancing is one of my favorite things to do, and singing music is my happy place. Bonnie says Nancy is the blonde. Yeah, Nancy will. Yeah. Nancy's the blonde. Anne's the singer. The big voice. DPD 5044 says TJ, aliens are real. They exist. And no, I don't do drugs, edibles every now and then. But I was stone cold sober when me and my dad saw one in 2018. You saw an actual alien? I know people have seen UFOs, and I've seen some UFOs. I don't know if those were alien. But you actually saw an actual being? An actual being. Alive and kicking? Or was it dead? Anyhow, I want to know more. Let's see. One Vision says Luck Dragon ELO is the shit. I like ELO. Jill Brandt says Randy Rhodes Crazy Train. Speaking of the guitarist Randy Rhodes, did Randy Rhodes do Crazy Train? Was that song out before he died? Sandy Folks says, TJ, you're not on the Snap program. No, I'm not. Luck Dragon says, dude, if you like ELO, then you have to listen to the Philharmonic. No, I don't. William says, I saw ELO 3 times. I think ELO would be great to see at the Sphere, but I'm not sure if Jeff Lynne has completely retired or what the deal is. Because I think they were touring, weren't they? Doing kind of almost like a farewell tour, and I thought he cut it short. I don't know if he took ill or something, so I don't know. But still, it would be cool to see ELO at the Sphere, I think. George Berger says the churches have a big fit when Halloween is on Sunday. They will gripe until it is moved to Saturday. Yeah, maybe that's one of the deals that I've heard of. Mr. Spock says in Newfoundland, Am I back on? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello. Am I back on? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello. Hello. Am I back on? All right. Let's see here. All right, can you guys hear me now? Now I'm just going on the regular phone mic. All right, can you guys hear me now? Now I'm just going. Yeah, the chopstick mic is dead. I don't know why. I thought I had it was plugged in. It was plugged in. I don't know why I did just a short charge, just a short play today. Usually I can get, plenty of time. So, let me turn this down. I turned this up just so I could see. Now, with when this mic is on the phone mic, you might hear the AC. So, did my hearing aid stop working? There's no audio. So yeah, I don't know. TJ's words of wisdom. Yeah, I don't know how long that went. I was really saying some really good stuff there, so I don't know, but it is what it is. I don't know why it stopped. Why the mic went out. I had it plugged in. This is why I need to buy another mic, just to have a backup. I could have charge, but anyhow, hopefully you guys can hear me okay, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so let's see. Love Dragon says, Roxanne 79, I've been listening to the solo of Mother by Pink Floyd and relearning it again. Christina, I can't read lips. So yeah, I'm still where it was muted. Roxanne, he's not going to see it for a while, kids. Test out our lip reading skills. No sound, no sound. How many minutes did I go to that? How many minutes was that with no sound? Is it still no sound? Because Sandy says no sound. Did it go to no sound again? Let's see. How many minutes? Or maybe Sandy's behind. Yeah, Sandy. I think Sandy's behind because the sound's back on now. Roxanne says muted TJ 320. That was probably like 10 minutes, huh? Probably. Roxanne, it's too early for words of wisdom. Yeah, I don't know why the thing died. The microphone died. Swinner Monkey, he must be singing that Miley Cyrus song, Secrets. Still no sound. DBD says UFO TJ in Vancouver, British Columbia, November 18, 2018. It's 11:28 p.m. We were sitting out by the fire, and all of a sudden, this bright blue light was shining through the trees. Within 30 seconds, it was gone. Okay, so you saw a UFO. Who was it that said they saw an alien? Because not necessarily the same thing. Roxanne says, muted TJ, need a mod to email him. Even if someone emailed me, I wouldn't see the email. Because I'm using both my phone and my iPad to watch the show. So I'm not gonna see emails coming in. By the way, just so you know. One Vision can't stop laughing. I guess it was funny. Oh, I'm funny to you, huh? I guess I'm funny to you. David, 93% of communication is nonverbal. This is about TJ Tangent time. I picked a bad time to go on a tangent when the mic died, huh? Roxanne, it's going to be, well, he sees that he's muted. One vision, I'm over it, bye. First, 1 minute you're laughing, and then 1 minute you're over it. So. David Dog, this is his best show yet. Catherine Real Health Talk, TJ, you've been muted for about 8 minutes now. One vision, he's cussing. I can see it, perhaps tech difficulty. I don't know if I was cussing. Swinner Monkey says, how many times do you think he's turned up to deliver the missing trailer or drop off Uber passengers that weren't there? I have no idea even what that means. Joe Bratton says, JoJo from Jersey is funny. She goes on Seneca Project, Seneca, New York. Was where women's movements like being able to go topless started. Oh, wow. So here's when I came in. Everyone's saying audio is good. We can hear you. Bad Mac, 10 minutes. I will never get back. Roxanne only took about 5 minutes. So Roxanne says 5 minutes. Mad Max says 10 minutes. And so you guys can hear. Luck Dragon says, congratulations to Kenny Loggins for finally becoming a Hall of Fame American songwriter. Roxanne, Chopstick Mike, shit the bed. Damon says volume is great. Josh says, I think TJ should get a CB style mic that hangs from the ceiling. Yeah, I wonder, I don't know. I have my CB and my mic and everything, but don't think I could rig it. Damon Dog says about 10 minutes. Roxanne says about 6 minutes. Josh, I made a sandwich in silence. Mr. Spock, I saw an alien once. Luck Dragon says, out of 340 million people, it only takes 12 of them to realize that Donald Trump is a pedophile? I guess you're talking about a jury. Jill Bratton says, Michael Wolff will be able to depose Melania and the Orange Grifter, as well as files, texts, etc. This is Spock. It was a documentary called E.T. Barney Bachman says, why don't the aliens ever introduce themselves? So rude. Yeah, they just want to anally probe us and then leave. Catherine Real Health Talk says, so Venezuela is said to have largest oil reserves on the planet. It's about 300 billion barrels. It's sour crude oil and needs special processing equipment. Ding, ding, ding. That's why, and nobody said it. Yeah, and I think there was some video going around of Trump saying, like, in the recent past, I think, like, they've got the oil, and I love them for their oil and all this shit. We don't need their fucking oil. We really don't. And anyway, that's not how you don't fucking go to war with countries. This isn't fucking, the fucking dark ages or whatever, You don't just go to war and to take people's stuff. This isn't America, the 19th century America, where we just go to war and take land and resources. Those days are done, son. Love Dragon says, why aren't more people upset that South Korea gave Donald Trump a crown? We need to cancel K-pop now. And they gave him burgers. And as Stephen Colbert said, that they actually made him Burger King. One Vision says, felt like 10, all agree with 5. DPD 5844, did anyone see Prince pedophilia? Andrew has been kicked out of his house he shared with his ex-wife, but he's not homeless entirely. King Charles gave him a place to lay his sick, twisted head. Oh, poor Prince Andrew. Yeah, he's got a place. We can all sleep better knowing that. Roxanne79 says, punk rocks. I've been listening to MC5 and Patti Smith lately. They have a lot of protest songs that fit the moment. I like Patti Smith. Love Dragon, the Go-Go's are my favorite punk rock band. Really? I don't even really consider them punk rock. I know they came up in that kind of era and they would perform with some other punk bands. I don't really consider them a punk band, though. They're more like maybe pop punk. They're very poppy. MJ Daniel says, Melania knows all about Maxwell and Epstein. She was there. AC just kicked on, so hopefully it's not too loud. Damon Dog says, Sons of Liberty put out a punk rock album yesterday. Blood of Patriots is really good. All the songs are about Trump, etc. MJ Daniel says, aliens want to probe our butts and turn cows inside out, according to South Park. Right. Roxanne 79, the Go-Go's with Belinda Carlisle. I like Blondie and B-52s better. See, I don't consider those punk bands. They were kind of more in that kind of new wave era, right? Surrender Monkey says, Roxanne, look up Angelic Upstarts, Police Oppression. They are what I used to listen to. One Vision says, for most of the oil we use today, the process involves organic material being buried by layers of sediment, then subjected to intense pressure or heat over millions of years. You talking about fracking? Run Vision, think we will run out? Yeah, we will run out. If we keep using it at the rate we're using it, yeah, we're gonna run out. DPD 5844. Did anyone see Crazy Eyes Patel use our tax dollars to fly on a $60 million plane to take his bobble-headed country singing girlfriend on a date? I think that was in yesterday's intro. I think I had that in yesterday's intro. So yeah, I did see it. Buddy Balco, I'm into Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I sing Maps to my cat. I love that song. Maps is one of my favorite songs. That's an awesome song. And the Yeah Yeah Yeahs are great. I love the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Yeah, that's a great song too. MJ Daniel says, Go-Go's punk, like the Ramones, Dead Kennedys, Black Flag, a bit more new wave pop, I think. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's almost exactly what I said just a minute ago. Joe Bratton said, The Clash, Hold My Heart, brought punk to MTV, and Radio Clash is still fun to listen to. Luck Dragon says, what you need to do is listen to Dayglow Abortions. Talk about Ronald Reagan, and you will realize that this shit has been happening since 1967? I got you again. Yeah, I don't get it. 196-7? 6-7? See, I don't get it. I don't get it. You're hilarious, apparently, to some people. Roxanne79 says, even The Cure is considered punk. So are the Talking Heads. Not sure about the Go-Go's. They might be pop. But I'm pretty sure B-52s and Blondie are considered punk, oddly enough. Yeah, I never thought of them as being punk. I thought of them as being new wave. MJ Daniels, DJT administration, the cabinet that never stops grifting. God, they grift, don't they? They just grift. All about the grift. Joe Brett, no doubt is considered punk. They're ska. They're a ska band. They're not punk. Unless it's ska punk, I don't know. And some of their earlier stuff was a little more edgy. And then they got more pop. And that's when they sold more records and became more famous. Let's see. Roxanne says, Jesse Wales has been meeting the moment. He's great. I like Josie Wales. Look, Dragon says the Go-Go's aren't really a punk rock band, but if you listen to the lyrics of My Lips Are Sealed, it is the best punk rock song ever written. Man, you guys have a lot of time on your hands, I guess, apparently. Roxanne, I always thought The Cure was alternative. Yeah, they're more like alt-rock. Mr. Spock, Rage Against the Machine. See, I don't consider them punk either. I'm more like... hard rock, almost. I wouldn't call them growl rock because they don't really growl, but I would say almost like between metal and hard rock is what I think of them as. But I don't know. What do I know? Apparently, I don't know much. David Dog says, oh yeah, Jesse Wells, I know who you're talking about. I have been watching his vids. I like Josie Wells. I like the outlaw Josie Wells better. That's probably Clint Eastwood's best movie. One Vision says, I love me some 90s trash. Mr. Spock, it was a phase. Rage come out on top. MJ Daniel says, I like some punk, but I have always been more into traditional classic rock, prog, some heavy metal, soul, R&B. Yeah, I like a little bit of everything too. Mad Mac, The Clash. Sweater Monkey says, I'm kicking it up to whiskey because I'm out of beer. Good luck, everybody. Well, good luck to you. Good luck with your whiskey. With your whiskey drinks. Are you going to get knocked down and get back up again? What is it says, Miss Spock? No, not fair. It's a toss-up between Rage and 9 Inch Nails. Rock says, 79 says, New Wave Origins, punk rock, pop rock, power pop, glam rock, electronic, kraut rock, pub rock, art pop, funk, reggae, progressive rock, disco, bubblegum, art rock. Did you get that out of the music dictionary? Hey, Black Dragon, was that funny? Was that with the musicianary? Roxanne got that out of a musicianary. No, I can't even say it. Let's see here. DPD5844 says, I have a question for the men in the chat. So I'll leave now. What are your thoughts on going to have a pedicure with your significant other? Are you yay or nay? Me, myself, I see it as a time for couples to bond. I'm fine. I've never done it, but I guess I would be fine with it. Get a nice little clear coat. I don't know. But yeah, you and the significant other, the significant other hanging out. Yeah, why not? Why the fuck not? Like I said, I've never had a pedicure, a mani-pedi, whatever. But what the hell? Why not? Hang out with your other that is significant. Jason Armino, Lamb of God is badass. Lamb of God, aren't they? They're very hard rock, very like the growl, what I call the growl rock, maybe, aren't they? If I'm thinking of the right thing. Mad Mac, Edie Brickell is awesome. Yeah, Edie Brickell is good. Yep. One Vision Matt says, Mad Mac, no Google allowed who sang Ballroom Blitz. Laughing out loud, I hope. Something. Let's see here. Nick Rich, I'm not used to John not being behind at least 10 minutes. Look, Dragon says, the Misfits aren't even punk rock. The Misfits are if punk rock and rock and roll had a baby with Halloween. Roxanne says, I did copy the definition of new wave from Google. It sounded like that, you know, like you got it from something. But then I made a joke that I thought Luck Dragon would appreciate. And I said, you got it from the musicianary. From the musicianary. That's right up Luck Dragon's alley, and no response. Crickets. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with you guys? Mr. Spock, the Cramps, I'm a Human Fly. Roxanne 79, the Misfits are cool too. I have to be in the mood. I can't think of any Misfits songs. I think I've heard of them. I've probably heard it, but I don't know. Petrazi says, I grew up in the 70s, 80s punk rock. Serena Monkey says, Jesus, System of a Down, and Nine Inch Nails, and Rage Against the Machine. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what that. On all the drugs, sugar got me hooked. Luck Dragon says, so what are you saying is that he loves Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Rush, and maybe a little Metallica? I don't know who the he is that you're talking about, but I love all those bands, too. I do, too. Catherine Real Hot Talk says some old-fashioned country, soft rock, classic rock, some heavy metal, Irish folk, and some random stuff that catches my attention. Roxanne says, I'm loving how punk rock the chat is. We're a bunch of old punk rockers. MJ Daniel says, my Spotify list has Rush, The Clash, Allman Brothers, Doobie Brothers, Marvin Gaye, Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth, Van Morrison, all over the place. Yeah, that's a pretty wide spectrum. For show. But I like all those bands and artists. Mad Mac, I'm one of the few straight people that love Indigo Girls. I think I'm familiar with a couple other songs, and I thought they were fine. You know. Jill Bratton says, Roxanne, switch to DuckDuckGo. Google is evil. Though I'm watching on YouTube, so I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I hear Tom Hartman, I don't know if lately, but he used to always sort of promote DuckDuckGo. Catherine Marie Hotog says, I do not listen to anyone that is younger than me, but someday they will all be younger than me. Damon Dog, I was listening to 9 Inch Nails yesterday. I want to complicate you. And then the rest of the song goes from there. Josh C says, I did a couples massage with my wife once. It was nice, not the dirty kind of massage. Is there any other kind? Mr. Spock, German industrial music is making a comeback. Luck Dragon says, if you really want to listen to the very first punk rock band, listen to the Kinks. You stupid assholes. Just kidding. I'm glad you put the JK in there. And I would never think of the Kinks as punk. Mad Max says, me and a guy from work always played Name That Tune with each other from as far back as 1980, and he still emails me questions even now. Jill Bratton, Lola, la 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 Lola. Very punk, very punk. Roxanne 79 says, MJ, nice. I used to love Van Morrison and Eric Clapton. Then I found out they were maggots, racist, so I sadly dropped them. But fuck, they were two of my favorite all-time faves. Two of my all-time faves. I never, I always thought Eric Clapton was, was good and had some good songs, some good classic rock songs, and he played with Cream and he played with Derek and the Dominoes, which was really Eric Clapton, and his solo career and everything. His nickname was Slowhand, and he was considered one of the top guitar players in music. And I always thought, yeah, he's a good guitar player. He's good. Nothing else. Never struck me as being like outstanding or whatever. And then I was watching a YouTube video where apparently, so if I saw it on YouTube, it must be true. But it was like they were interviewing Eddie Van Halen, and like Eddie Van Halen was saying that Eric Clapton was his favorite guitar player, like especially when he was growing up and listening to music and watching other guitar players, and that like Eric Clapton was his biggest influence. I'm now, as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, was that a deep fake video that I watched? Because I just can't see how Eric Clapton was such a big influence on Eddie Van Halen. Says I don't think they play or sound anything alike. But maybe it's true. I don't know. Luck Dragon says, I don't think you guys are assholes, but I know for a fact that the Kinks are the very first punk rock band. Nick Ritz says Sex Pistols. There you go. When I think of punk, I think of more like the Sex Pistols. I don't think of the fucking Kinks. MJ Daniels says Mother Love Bone, the Seattle grunge band that turned into Pearl Jam after their singer died from a heroin overdose. Definitely alt rock, I would say, or grunge. Grunge alt rock. Yeah, I think grunge is grunge is like a branch of alt rock, if that's possible. If that's even possible. Roxanne79 says the Kinks are cool too. MC5 is one of the first two. One Vision says the Kinks, the Cure, Talking Heads, they might be giants. Yes, I confess I'm an 80s Tang Space Night tracks pre-MTV boy. Yes, I'm older than you. I never considered any of those bands to be punk bands. Maybe more alt rock, except for the Kinks. Kinks were just, to me, more like classic rock. Aaron, I'm about to board to plane to Vegas. Catch you all on the flip side. All right, Aaron, have a good flight. You're gonna have a good time here in Vegas. It's gonna be 84 degrees today, Aaron. But an overnight low of 53. So in the evening, it's gonna drop down into the 50, or no, 60, 70s, 60s, eventually the 50s, I guess. Love Dragon says it really wasn't a thing, but the very first punk rock band was definitely Chopin Tonight. Never heard of them. Never fucking heard of them. MJ Daniel says I have not used Google for a search for over a year. DuckDuckGo works fine. Blood Dragon says there's only one Misfit song that you need to listen to tonight, and it's called Halloween. Well, alrighty then. David Dog says I'm compiling a playlist for November 21st and 22nd DC road trip. I'm going to put a Bluetooth loudspeaker in the basket of my bike and ride around the Washington Mall blasting freedom speech music. There you go. That sounds cool. One minute says, man, Mac, I went to war. I ran after the Vixen rock band took 3 security guards to save their tits. Yeah, Kelsman wrote that. I get knocked down again. I get up again. How's that song go? Again. I get down, I get knocked down, I get up again, dun, 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 I get knocked down, I get up again, nothing gonna keep me down, dun, 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 dun. Something like that. David Weiss from Denver says jazz is my go-to, but have white taste, love Zappa and his kids, Fish is fun, Yellow is dance party, Steampunk Giraffe for the delightfully weird, so many I could do a channel hand purple blue piece. I think that was supposed to be an emoji that didn't emoji eyes. But yeah, do a channel, man, do a channel. Luck Dragon says this is all coming back full circle as we are talking about punk rock music, and I'm saying to listen to the Misfits Halloween tonight. Mad Max says, Trucker John, but do you think Indigo Girls are just fine or closer to fine? That's one of their popular songs. Oh, see, I'm glad you told me that because I wouldn't have known. Roxanne79, I was crushing on Eddie Vedder for years. The side project band I'd like to see tour again is Oysterhead with Trey, I guess from Fish. Les Claypool from Primus on bass there, and Stuart Copeland, the drummer from Police. Ooh, that sounds like a great band, huh? A super band. Whatever they call those. Yeah, that sounds like a great band right there. D says, how come no one ever mentions Pat Benatar, Sheila E., Donna Summer, or Linda Ronstadt? I don't know. Maybe they're not as popular as these other bands with this group of people. MJ Daniels says the Kinks are great. Also very early Scorpions and Judas Priest. Yeah, I like Scorps. I like Judas Priest. MJ Daniel, Clapton is a big anti-vaxxer, isn't he? I think so, yeah. I think during COVID, like Roxanne was saying, we learned a lot about Clapton and Van Morrison. And a lot of us don't like what we found out. Petrazi, 1920, says, I hate when musicians that you like turn out to be maggots. Me too. I hate that when that happens. I hate that when it happens. Catherine Real Hell Talk says, never liked scumbag Ted Nugent. He is a scumbag. That's for sure. Blood Dragon says, I was also a fan of Pearl Jam, but in my mind, they never even came close to Soundgarden. And pretty different sounding bands. I mean, Pearl Jam is definitely more grunge, and Soundgarden is definitely more rock, or hard rock, I think. Even though they came up in the same time, the same era, they probably played the same festivals, and they were all grungy. So Soundgarden gets lumped in with the grunge, but I really don't consider them to be grunge. Soundgarden, but Pearl Jam, I would say, yeah. MJ Daniels says Clapton has been very influential around rock. Apparently, Eddie Van Halen, I would have thought he would have said, like, I don't know, Hendrix or something. I don't know. Even though, or something a little more hard rocky, and more fast. I just didn't picture that Eddie Van Halen was so influenced and thought, and said that Clapton was like the best ever, like the god of guitar players or something. Bad Bag says Clapton was great with Cream, but in real life was a prima donna prick. He was as jealous of Jimi Hendrix like Orange Pedo is of Obama, petulant little pricks. Roxanne says, I like Eddie over Chris Cornell, but Lance Staley is awesome too. And unfortunately, I believe 2 out of those 3 are dead. Really sad, really sad. So many of those singers passed away, and most of them on drug ODs and stuff. Or suicide with Kurt Cobain, right? Bonnie Bowden says, listen to George Harrison's song, Here Comes the Sun, and you're hearing Clapton play guitar. Listen to the song Layla. And also listen to their switching wives or something, swapping wives. Mr. Spock says there's no single first punk band as the genre origins are debated, but the Stooges, MC5, and the Ramones are frequently cited as pioneers. And I would probably say that sounds about right. And Sex Pistols. James Jaramillo says, No Rain took a while to grow on me. Great tune. It was a great tune. A great tune. Dave Weiss, as a Minneapolis cab driver and native, I got to see a lot of early Prince. Lady Cab Driver is a favorite. What does being a cab driver have to do with seeing a lot of Prince? Were you taking him for rides? Love Dragon says, real punk rock fans always try to debate whether or not Bob Dylan or the Kinks were the first punk rock band. I've never heard that argument, so I've never heard anyone arguing whether or not Bob Dylan or the Kinks were the first punk rock band. Ever. I've never heard anyone say Bob Dylan was punk or the Kinks. I think you're high as fuck. Jill Bretton says, I saw Motley Crue in a high school gym. They were so lame as a hair band, but they had a few catchy songs. I like Motley Crue. I thought they were pretty good in their heyday. Surrender Monkey says they might be giants rock hard. They are by far the one band I turned to for a pick-me-up tune. For pick-me-up tunes. One Vision, Dead Kennedys, is that punk? I would say so, I think so. Mad Mac, the Rembrandts. I don't think the Rembrandts are punk. They're very pop, right? They're very pop. MJ Daniel says our high will be the upper 50s, and there is a big storm moving in up there in Washington, up in the Seattle area there, right? Up in the greater Seattle area. One Vision says, I know punk crawled into a common space called alternative. Yeah, I think they're still pretty separate. I think there's a pretty big difference still between punk and alternative. Unless alternative is sort of a, you know, an umbrella and where you have these other branches coming out. You know, but I don't know. It can get a little murky, all these definitions and categories and stuff. It can get a little murky. Sir Monkey says, Luck Dragon, do you think we can get TJ to sing a Mac Lad song or a Chubby Brown tune? Nick Rich, 1 o'clock p.m. I'm 7 minutes behind. I am 7 minutes back. We are over 2 hours. Probably be doing Words of Wisdom any minute now. Luck Dragon says I wrote a song for Testament, Violence, and Machine Head. Did they record them? Did you get royalties? Are you rich? No. None of my business. If Daniel Pat Benatar is still touring, yeah. She still sounds great. I mean, I haven't seen her, but I saw her on some recent YouTube videos of some recent performances, and I think she still sounds great, looks great. Her husband there is the lead guitarist, and he's awesome. Catherine Real Hot Talk says Eric Clapton got the shot and it really made his hands hurt. Oh, so is that what he was complaining about with the vaccine? Damon Dog says, by the way, Wes Webb is witch. He wore a witch's hat and hair during his morning birthday song. Actually very cool. MJ Daniel says, I would love to have Zappa around now. He would have a thing or two to say. Yeah, he would. Absolutely he would. Look, Dragon, never heard of Chopin? I never heard of Chopin. Whatever you said was so, like, you made it sound like there was some new band or something. I've heard of Chopin the composer. He's not a fucking rock. That's not a fucking rock band. JK. What happened to Pat Benatar's husband? Wasn't that... He's a really good guitarist. I can't remember his name right now. He wrote most of those big hits and stuff. Did something happen to him? Surrender Monkey says, if you play a Pat Benatar song while in voice chat streaming a game online, they hit you with a copyright claim and you get booted from the match. She's kind of a cunt. Maybe she just... Maybe it's not even your control. Maybe it's the record company or something. Catherine's Leaping Lemurs is here. It says, as long as someone who likes to sing, as someone who likes to sing, I love Linda Ronstadt. I once knew and would sing almost all the songs on her album, starting with the Stone Ponies and through the early 80s. Yeah, Linda Ronstadt had a great, great voice. No doubt, no doubt. No doubt about it. DPD5844 says, for those of you whose parents are still alive, do they listen to the music of this genre? My parents are almost in their 80s, and I get a kick out of them listening to Cardi B. It tickles me. Of this genre, so are they're listening to Cardi B? Mr. Spock, Courtney had something to do with Kurt's death. That's the conspiracy theory. Look, Dragon, punk is a feeling and a right. Technically has been around since Jesus? I don't know. You tell me. Catherine's Leaping Lemurs 79 says, love the Kinks and Bub too. Who's Bub? I don't know who Bub is. James Aramido says, Bad Mac, yes, that sucks when that happens, but Bohemian Rhapsody does that to me all the time, not knocking Queen. They had some great tunes. I love Queen, and I have nothing... I like Bohemian Rhapsody too. So. Jill Bratton says, saw Cyndi Lauper on her farewell tour. Her voice was amazing. Yeah, I think she was performing in Vegas. I don't know if she's still here or maybe she's gone already. But she was here, I think it's Caesar's Palace. Not too long ago. Damon Dog with the big dog says, I was jamming at Uncle Cracker earlier this week. Not punk, but feel-good music. Look, Dragon says, sometimes great songs don't deserve a category? Maybe instead of the word deserve, you should just say need. Maybe they don't need a category. One Vision says, Zappa was great, but if I could bring one human back, I would choose George Carlin, hands down. I would choose Jesus. Ivy Joe Rains is here. Ivy Joe says, hey, jumping on quick to say happy Halloween and stay safe. Gotta go back to my candy and cupcakes. You have a good one too if you're still here, Ivy Joe. Have a good Halloween. Have a good time. Yeah, Neil Girardo. There you go. DPD5840. Neil Girardo, I think, was Pat Husband's. I didn't. If something happened to him, I didn't hear about it. I thought just recently they were performing and touring, and he was still shredding. The guy could shred, man. Joe Bratton, we really need Anthony Bourdain right now. He's such a good cook. Could really use some of his great food. Luck Dragon says a lot of people think that Take a Walk on the Wild Side was the very first punk rock song. Lou Reed, that's who I was trying to think of the other day. Yeah, that could be, maybe. Yeah, I can see that. MJ Daniel says, Linda Ronstadt's father grew up in Mexico, and she did a Spanish language album that is really good. Her voice is amazing. Elizabeth Martinez says, Linda Ronstadt, her Canciones de mi Padre. I was in the audience when she made the video DVD. It was an awesome show. Wow. Luck Dragon says, punk rock is anything that goes against the establishment. And that is why War Pigs is the best punk rock song ever written. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. I thought you said it was the Go-Go's. Our Lips Are Sealed. Make up your mind. Petrossi 1920 says, Jesus was a punk rocker. Catherine Real Hot Talk says, Linda Ronstadt's voice was like a harp. Pitch perfect and would catch your soul. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice way to put it. Yeah. MJ Daniel says, I always thought of Jesus as more of a deadhead. Yeah, I don't know. I can see him as more of like a headbanger, like, like into metal and shit. But I guess we'll never know. One Vision says, my daughter, karaoke girls want to have fun yesterday. So funny. Oh, that was just yesterday, huh? MJ Daniel says, Wilburys are great. Only 2 of them left. The Traveling Wilburys is like Jeff Lynne and Tom Petty and George Harrison and Roy Orbison. Who else? Was there anybody else in that band? Because out of the 4 I mentioned, 3 of those are dead. So Jeff Lynne, I must be missing somebody. Was Ringo the drummer? Maybe it was Ringo. I don't know. The drum. I don't know. You can tell me, MJ. You can tell me. It's okay. You can tell me. Mad Max says, I still have my ticket from one of the last days of Fillmore West in San Francisco, July 2nd, 71. $10, and Led Zeppelin, 1973, July 17th, $6.50. Wouldn't it be cool to have a time machine, and then you could go back and see these great concerts, and for like $5, $6, and then just zip back to the present. Try not to touch anything because you don't want to, the old. Butterfly effect, you don't want to change history, but you can go, and I always thought it'd be cool, like just go shopping, use your time. Here's what I would use, like some people use time machines for to take over the world or some shit. I'm going to use my time machine just to go shopping. I'm going to do like a month's worth of shopping and spend like $45. I'm going to go see Zeppelin for $6. That's what I'm using my time machine for. I'm going to go buy a car. I'll go buy a brand new 65 Mustang for like $29.95 or some shit. That's what I'm using my time machine for. One Vision says, Trucker John 3, Second Coming of Jesus means everyone except for 144,000 people out of 8 billion burn and suffer for eternity. Have you read the Bible? I have read the Bible. And I don't think that's the proper interpretation, for one thing. I don't think that whoever told you that, or however you're interpreting the book of Revelation, whatever, I don't think you're interpreting it right. Look, Dragon says, okay, am I high? You win. Who the fuck is Sturgill Simpson? I don't know, but I have Sturgill Simpson on one of my playlists, actually. He has that one, there's a one cool song. I can't remember the name of it, but I believe I have Sturgill Simpson on my playlist, and it was a good song. It's a very good song. MJ Daniel says, Waiting for Columbus, one of my favorite live albums. David Weiss from Denver says, y'all like a lot of music. Yeah, we do. We could go on forever. Jolie says, Jesus was the first hippie. Catherine's Leaping Lemurs, 79, says, I just called Dylan Bub ever since Kevin Kline said it that way in French Kiss in his Fab Faux French accent with Meg Ryan. Oh, okay. Well, the way you wrote that, it was like you were talking about two different people, so I didn't know. Okay, so James Armino says, Roy Orbison, George Harrison, Tom Petty are gone. Right. But you said, I thought you said, oh, Bob Dylan was in it. Okay. That was the fifth person. Who was the drummer? Jeff Lynne? No, who fucking was the drummer? Wait, Roy Orbison didn't do drums. George Harrison wasn't on drums. Petty wasn't on drums. I don't think Jeff Lynne was on drums. I don't think Bob was there a sixth person? Or did they not count that person? Or did they not play drums? It was just all like guitars. There had to be some drums in there. Why wasn't that drummer considered one of the Traveling Wilburys? Twist Nerves Painting's here. Hey, Twist Nerves, good to see you. It says, hello, John. Hope you're having a good Halloween. Oh, I'm having the best. Luck Dragon, I love Ozzy, but Jesus is definitely my favorite punk rocker. Catherine Lieber says, I strongly relate to the punk ethos these days, especially being disgusted by our government. MJ Daniel says, I saw a program where a father and son found the Mustang used in the movie Bullet, bought it and restored it. Oh, man. I love that movie, and I love that Mustang, and I love Steve McQueen. Man, what a find. That would be an awesome find. Mad Max says, olden days concerts were just music with maybe some sort of light show, but today's concerts have elaborate stages, pyrotechnics, costumes, and computer-controlled video and lights. Big difference from today. Hey, if I can get in for $6 to see Zeppelin or Sabbath, and I just had a good enough seat where I can see the band fairly well, and I can just hear the music, and they got a good sound system. That's all I need. I don't need fucking pyrotechnics and shit. You know? MJ Daniels saw some great concerts in the 80s. Twister says, good afternoon. There. Petrozzi, Ringo. Was Ringo the drummer? Then why isn't he a Traveling Wilbury? Mad Max says, Jim Keltner was traveling. Oh, Jim Keltner. Would have been great if they would have got Ringo, though, wouldn't it? Maybe that was just too many Beatles. Or something. I don't know. One Vision says, which he stands is his rule in all the churches about living in the situation God has assigned. It could also be a metaphor for discerning between good and bad teaching, such as in Matthew 7:16. Oh, thank you very much there, Reverend One Vision. David Dog, Jim Keltner was the drummer for the Traveling Wilburys. You guys act like you actually knew who Jim Keltner was. Don't act like you didn't look it up. No one knows who the fuck Jim Keltner was. Right? It should have been Ringo. That's all I'm saying. When I think of Traveling Wilburys, I think more of Ringo than I do Jim Keltner. One Vision says, non-practicing Catholic, I have the Bible driven into me, and I don't believe, but I'm willing to debate. David Weiss from Denver says Jim Keltner was the drummer. Okay, all right. I never really said it was Ringo, by the way. I sort of, there was a question mark at the end of my sentence when it came to Ringo. I was just asking. I never claimed it was Ringo. And don't you dare tell me you knew who Jim Keltner was before you guys went and looked it up. Catherine Real Talk says, I don't like all the pyro and fiber optic light show crap. bad for the brain, and little is okay, but there's too much of it now. David Weiss from Denver says, Ringo is my favorite Beatle. Don't you agree he would have been a great traveling Woolberry? Demon Dog, I don't know who Google is. Mad Max says, I'm a drummer, and I know that Keltner was one of the best studio drummers around. All right, I'll give you that one, Mad Max. Since you were a drummer, and I'll give it to you. But the rest of you, no. Look, Dragon, my favorite singer is Jeff Rafferty. I've heard of Jerry Rafferty. I never heard of is Jeff Jerry's brother? All right, guys. We've reached the end of the chat. We're at 2.5 hours. I'm getting cranky and sore and hungry and tired and all that. I need a nappy. I need a baba and a nappy. I was just thinking the other day, as we get older, we get more and more like babies. All right, guys. It's like Benjamin Buttons, you know, kind of like we start off as babies and then we end up as babies. All right, guys, but thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. No cookies today. Nick Rich, come on, man, no cookies. Haven't you had enough cookies? I say enough with the cookies. What are you talking about? You can't keep me down. I get knocked down again. I get up again. Nothing's going to keep me down. Nothing's going to keep me down. Nick Rich. Hey, Nick Rich, how's this special cookie moment is going out to you, my friend. Just for you. Gonna have some tough cookies. How many of you are gonna get tough cookies in your bag tonight, you trick-or-treaters? I know, you're not kids anymore. No one's trick-or-treating. All right, well, hey, maybe you should hand out a tough cookie for your, I looked over there, I thought I saw a squirrel. A squirrel. I've been over in the corner there drinking Trucker John's Hennessy. I dipped into the Hennessy. No, not really. Just kidding. But hey, yeah. Hey, everybody, have a good Halloween tonight, and don't pass out the tough cookies. Actually, that's a bad idea. We don't want we don't want any cookie side going on. No cookie sides. We don't want a mass cookie side, all right, going on. Anyhow, happy Halloween. I guess Trucker John's gonna be on tomorrow, so I'll probably see you guys again tomorrow. I know I get brought on here by popular demand. The show just wouldn't be the show if I didn't come in here. So, all right. I have a question. I do have a question. Is anyone going out as Paul the Purple Beard Guy? I'm wondering, because, a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, hey, nice costume. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, never mind. And I'm like thinking, did they think my beard and mustache are fake or something? Folks, this is real. This is the real deal. See, don't come off. The real deal. But you could probably make a Paul the Purple Beard if you're like, this is a last minute thing, let's say. And you're going to go to some Halloween thing, and you didn't have anything prepared. Well, you could just you could dye your beard purple, maybe, or just, I'm sure there's some place where you could get a purple beard and mustache. I think that's a great idea for costume, Halloween costume. So I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there for you, to think about, something to think about. Maybe someday there'll be a whole line of Halloween costumes. A purple beard guy. We could have tough cookie. We could even make some sort of a Trucker John deal, probably. You know, I'm thinking, yeah, a whole line of it. So, all right. Anyhow, time to go. You guys have a great Halloween. And thank you guys so much for being here. We didn't get anything on our goal. 0 for 5, but that's okay. That's okay. Sandy Foltz did do a $2 super chat. So thank you, Sandy. I'm speaking for Trucker John now. Thank you very much. Do appreciate you. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, think about subscribing. That would be great. That would be really, really wonderful if you guys would hit the subscribe button. We're at over 4,170. I know Trucker John really wants to get to 100K, so let's get on that. And you can help by subscribing and sharing, liking, hitting that thumbs up. That all helps. So, all right, I guess that's it for today. And we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Paul, the Purple Beard Guy, and Tough Cookie. Thank you very much. It just wouldn't be a show without it. And I want to thank all you guys for being here. Now, the other thing left to do, of course, is the good old words of wisdom. So even on Halloween, we have words of wisdom. Even on Halloween. So make sure you guys get something to write with. Write this down. These are keepers, folks. These are keepers. Okay, for today's words of wisdom, then just here we go. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready? Write this down. Okay.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant. But I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kick. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John Livestream. Yeah, the Trucker John Livestream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John Livestream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food and movies and bugs, shining a light on all the social issues. No shows, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you want to take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows. So go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along.
Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye.